So been there. This is Rock City 101.9 FM here in the city of Abeokuta. Here the Daybreak Show is on. Citizens Forum, the first working day for the year 2018. I hope many of workers have resumed, and I hope we were also able to keep you company, good company, all through those holidays. Dele Ayodo is my name.
I'm Tobi Joseph. This morning, on the Tuesday edition of Citizens Forum, we are having a very debatable topic. And of course, it's a discussion that would continue. But it has started, not today, it started some times ago when people started asking, looking at the challenges that Nigeria has been grappling with for years. And the question oftentimes comes in the mode of, can politicians save Nigeria? Or better still, you say, can political parties save Nigeria? Don't forget that if you're talking about leadership, you cannot throw away the political parties because they are the ones who actually set the pace, create the space and platform for politicians, either professional politicians or professionals in politics, to actually attain positions of leadership. But if you look at the political parties, their setup, the mechanism, the money politics that we practice in Nigeria, how difficult it is for those who are sane, those who are well-intended, who have good intentions, those who have discipline, who have patriotism to emerge in those parties, in positions of leadership. You begin to question whether these political parties can actually help change the status quo and rescue the nation, as it were. It's a very debatable topic, Dele.
And of course, topical and interesting, like you said, the way it is in Nigeria, at least for now, and so it's likely to be for many years to come, is that nobody can attain governance leadership if you don't belong to a political party. And they are the ones, like Toby said, who opens the space, creates the space, the platform. Their platform is what we can use. Therefore, so many Nigerians have asked the question, have they been able to do their part? That space created, is it well structured? Some people will go straight and say no. Right from the start, the field is on with so many angles that it's difficult for you to kick one angle out of it. Therefore, part of the restructuring we are talking about has to do with political restructuring, party restructuring. For instance, so many times people have queried or talked about what they call internal democracy. How does it come? How is it created? And of course, some people have also talked of level playing field or ground for politicians, and that can be decided by the so-called party leaders and elders. Very strong people or very strong group, at least in Nigerian context, they can decide to deal with the president, not to talk of any other person. If the president decides not to respect them, they have their own way of pulling the carpet off the feet of whoever the leader is. So we are going to be checking out on our political parties this morning as we go into 2018. Simple question though, but very complex to answer. Do you think Nigeria's political parties can save the country? We are expecting the chairman of Ogun State Council, Inter-Party Advisory Council, a conglomerate of all registered political parties. Chief Adebayo Mosuro is not in the studio yet. As soon as he comes in, yes, we'll take on more. But typical of us, we are not going to waste any of the time. We'll get you engaged straight on political parties in Nigeria. Do you think they can save Nigeria? And if you think yes or no, how can they save Nigeria? What kind of restructuring should come onto these political parties.
Yes, before we miss the point, when we talk about save, some people will actually say maybe we are talking about a dying nation. Well, it depends on how you look at it. The word save is very apt and very appropriate because there are some facts that you cannot deny. Is it the fact that about 29 billion Nigerians are jobless, or about 14.2% is the actual unemployment rate as of June 2017? I'm talking about figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics themselves, and it has continued to climb for 9 consecutive quarters. 10 million Nigerian children are out of school. That is a very alarming one. And these are not children, ordinary children. They are children that are of school age, who should be in schools. This is the highest rate in the entire world. Our health system is considered to be one of the worst in the world and ranks 187 out of 189 nations surveyed by the World Health Organization. That is another disturbing situation or statistics. On top of it all, you realize that we are more divided, fractured. We are fractured along religious, tribal, ethnic, and so many sentiments and lines. And if you look at it, you begin to wonder, how can we get it together? How can we stick together and rescue the nation? Can political parties or politicians come to the rescue?
All right, maybe the word rescue, Mother Tobi, like you said, people have said in Nigeria is under the surgical knife, yes. And of course, also people will say ICU, the intensive
care unit.
Okay, while we are waiting our guests, let's get engaged. 08098687344 or 09091469670. Quickly, let me just advise or suggest that we keep sentiment out of this. Really, it won't take us anywhere. Emotion will not resolve this issue. Let's be as pragmatic, let's be as realistic as we can in our suggestions and positions. Other platforms are also there for you to use 32120. That's for the short code. Now have our guest in the studio. Chief Adebayo Mosuro is the chairman of the state chapter of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. That's a conglomerate of all political parties, registered political parties in the state. You're welcome to the Daybreak Show once again.
Thank you very much.
Quickly, let's begin by knowing that IPAC thing, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, so that people can understand the basis for what job IPAC is doing. Inter-Party Advisory Council.
Yes, the IPAC is an organ. It was created, it's a kind of interface between INEC and the political parties as major stakeholder in the
Nigeria's democracy
platform. And it has as its members all political parties, registered political parties with INEC. So it's a kind of forum whereby they interact to solve issues and discuss development of our political.
Okay. When you say solve issues, does issues such as economic problems and other problems in government, are they part of what you people discuss, or you just discuss the party and politics alone?
With INEC, no. But within
the political parties,
yes,
you discuss everything.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, at least for now, until independent candidacy is approved, in the country, some people have even said independent candidacy Tobi is dead on arrival, that it's not likely for years to come produce any significant leadership position for Nigeria because of the way political parties are run. So it is the political parties who will be in government. They are the ones who will call the shot. They are the ones who will put forward names of those who, for instance, will be in NNPC, as it were, or the economic team, as it were. So therefore, political parties are very key. Chief Mosuro, will you say without sentiment or emotion that Nigeria's political parties have done well? all political parties now, or maybe the ones that have the opportunity to rule so far.
Maybe we should talk about the ones that have
The
the opportunity
opportunity
to
to rule
rule,
so far.
because the system has always been winner takes all. When your party is in power, you like the states we have to nominate those people to the federal will that will give them the
All
appointments.
appointments.
Yes, so it has to do with the ruling party and their policy. So that's the major thing.
Yeah.
All
So
political parties, what they can do is to give a kind of advice and constructive criticism when needed. So that's the
we asked a question this morning. Um, how or do you think Nigeria's political parties in Nigeria can save the country from the myriads of problems being faced today?
well.
Or we need another restructuring of political structure and system in the country.
Not really. Political parties, for now, what we can still do is just to provide a kind of advice and constructive criticism to the ruling parties in every area, like in the states and the federal system. And you now realize that even when you decide to restructure, parties are not just parties, it is the people in the parties that make things happen. Parties are just names, but the people and their ideology coming together to form a political structure is what we are looking at. So, like for instance, we have the federal government right now. People are complaining, okay, Buhari this, Buhari that. But my belief is, Buhari was coming. His campaign was majorly on anti-corruption. That time, most of us failed to realize that, okay, everything anti-corruption, anti-corruption, anti-corruption. What are your plans for other aspects of the economy? It wasn't the priority of that party at that particular point in time. So right now, I'm not surprised we are here, but we will keep on advising for us to get up.
All right. But before you came in, actually, Chief Musu, we were looking at the facts on ground, the situation as regards Nigeria, the health sector, the fact that education is not within reach of about 10 million children in Nigeria. Now, one thing that people have said, Dele also highlighted earlier, is that independent candidacy seems to be enjoying the support of some lawmakers who have actually voted in favor of it. But that is far from reality. Uh, how will an independent candidate, for example, garner or the support of Nigerians that will put him to power, especially for the seat of the presidency? How will he galvanize his campaign? Who are the people that are going to contribute to that campaign? Is it true that independent candidacy is dead on arrival? If it is not, is it even a possible solution in rescuing the country or saving Nigeria, as it were?
Oh, the issue of independent candidacy to me is it's not dead on arrival, but I think we are not yet there. We are not yet there. We have so many political parties right now, and even funding is one of the problems. Everybody is complaining about money bags are striking political parties because you are the major financier and you just want to dictate to people. Even political parties right now, the internal democracy is still not in existence. You have a situation whereby most of the states you don't have vibrant party exos, whereby the chief executive is the only person dictating. In some places, you don't even have physical exos. They don't even have.
But must it be that? Must it be that way? Because the late sage was in firm control of the then action group, the AG. There were money bags around him. There were people who were well-to-do, who were richer than him, but they could not wrest the control of the party from him. They did not take over the process. It's either you are sane upstairs, you are sound upstairs, you have ideals, you are morally upright, you are accountable, you are transparent, or you don't get anything. They then age you. So, where did we lose that?
Then we politics those days were based on ideology, strictly based on ideology. If you're an AG, if you believe in the ideology of AG, they didn't just get there just once. It was a kind of gradual thing.
Progression.
Yes, and
Like you get promoted over time.
over time. And that's why you have them even till the time of late Bola Ige and Abraham Adesanya. You can see it was a kind of promotional thing. You have to be in Afenifere from Afenifere. You be the leader. When you are the leader of Afenifere, they are seeing you to be leader of the Yorubas and all sorts. So it was a kind of people of the same ideology coming together. And for even if you are a money bag, you just have to agree with the ideology. And the problem started when we lost this issue of ideology, when the issue of power, I don't want to use that language because of some personality I would need to mention, like later Chief Akintola, for instance. What happened between them then was purely issue of, okay, I want to be in control, you can't be 100% in control, we are doing this together and all sorts. And ever since that time, if you study it, it's been getting worse, worse, and worse till now. So what we have these days is just people coming together. Okay, we want to form a political party, not based on ideology, but I think this guy used to be my friend and he's no more my friend. He's not serving my purpose anymore. So we must get him out of power. Okay, get people of like minds, not the same ideology, but like minds.
That takes us to the issue exactly what we are trying to expose and find solutions. If you just said so, Nigeria's political parties like ideology. Today there are 67 registered political parties, and some Nigerians will um, swear or know that um, the difference in all those 67 is just the name or the names. In terms of even those who make up the party, that they are not different from each other. Today they are in AAA, by the next 48 hours they are in BBB, the same set of people, and wanting you to believe that BBB is a new or different political parties, whereas they are not. You've also talked about the so-called internal democracy, which is how those who contest and those who eventually become the leaders and rulers of the country emerges. Now, how did this become a problem that we don't have people with different ideology to make up the group that eventually metamorphoses into a political party?
Well, any anything you are building, the foundation is very important. You see people coming together based on a particular interest. When they want to put people in office, some of them because they want to cover up their old tracks, some of them because they are looking forward to get some things in government and they feel, okay, this guy is not giving me, he's still in power right now. Why can't we organize people and put people together because we have the money? Okay, let's change him and put in our people. So those people you see them bringing in, they too, they are ambitious people whereby you don't, somebody with no idea, somebody who doesn't, you can imagine what we see around. You see people contesting for legislative offices and you see their billboards, their campaign, free education, free this, free that, free that, free that. Things they don't even have power to do. You will see them, they like the idea of what they are going in there to do. So basically, most of these people, their problem is just, we want to get into power, share the national cake.
Now, we've talked about restructuring in different dimensions. If you want to talk about restructuring in political parties, what suggestions will your own group, people like you, give to INEC on how to ensure that these political parties begin to have different identities and stand on different things?
Well, like I said, INEC is really working in INEC. They have a department called, we call it EPM, uh, Election and Party Monitoring Unit, whereby They encourage people even before they have to monitor your congresses, they have to monitor everything you do. The issue is not INEC.
I know, I'm not saying it's an. I'm talking of politicians like you, political party managers, and maybe Nigerians. I
Okay,
know it's not INEC. So, what kind of restructuring can we bring into political parties? For instance, there have been complaints about, we talked about it, how leaders emerge,
yes.
candidates emerge from these political parties. If you look at the recent convention of the PDP, upon all the fight, and one would think it's going to be suddenly some abracadabra and power play came off. And then today there are still complaints about how those who are leading the party emerge. So how can we stop this practice?
Maybe by the time we stop having money bags and people with personal interest in
Can we
it,
ever have that in Nigerian
I doubt
politics?
that.
Okay, one other thing which I think we need to look at is the issue of cross-carpeting, defections. Is it possible to nip that in the bud? Can it be stopped totally? And if it is stopped, do you think it will improve the process and improve the performance of the political parties in taking Nigeria out of the woods?
Funny enough, there are rules, but we Nigerians, people making the rules are part of us. People being ruled are part of us. So it depends on the angle you're looking at. Let's take, for instance, the issue of carpeting you are talking about. Some parties will tell you before you can contest in our party, most of the constitution will say you have to be a member of that party for so number of months or years. Take for instance the APC right now. Some people crossed to APC from PDP because of the last general election. First thing we need to confirm is, did they really resign their membership of PDP? Tomorrow you see them back in PDP, they want to contest an election. If you tell them you are not a member of this party, you are just joining, they will tender their card, valid card. So what do you call that? So, and the constitution says we have freedom of association. So you can't restrict people from associating with people they feel will serve their best interest or they have the same ideology. But unfortunately, people are just using it the other way around and just for their selfish.
Will it
And
work? Because politicians will say politics is a game of number. The more, the merrier, no matter the quality of the number. It is the number that matters more. Can we begin to say, okay, there must be um, character identity or some specific guidelines as to who will join a political party? Is it possible to have that in Nigeria? Say, let's leave the political parties that have had the opportunity to be in government alone, the lesser ones. Can I begin to, okay, you have a changed character, we are not going to admit you into our party. Or before we admit you into our party, you must have evidence that you are a successful businessman, or whatever you are doing, wherever your field is, you've attained so level of experience before you come into our party. Will this work with the kind of structure we have?
well, I believe it cannot. But let's take it from this angle. We have politicians. Compared to our population, the voting population, what's the population of the politicians? Politicians alone cannot just come out, vote somebody into power. Now, I believe it is the level of our political awareness. And when you look at the Nigerian system, just to be frank, I just have to be open because we are looking for a way forward into solving this problem in our nation. A situation whereby you have a lot of people, I believe it's the ruling parties, poverty, illiteracy, and some other things that are deliberate things. Let me use that language. A situation whereby some people cannot afford three basic meals, not even talk of square meals this time around, basic meals. So somebody who doesn't have a future, who believes he doesn't have a future, who believes he doesn't have, and you are now telling me, okay, this is your party. Election is coming. They now realize somebody, a drug baron or a fraudster or somebody who has been in government in another party who has embezzled, and which is a public knowledge, coming into their party. The first thing you will see with the party supporters, they will first of all jubilate. Why? Money is coming. Survival. So you see, you will realize that during our elections, local government elections, general elections, we realize that at the end of the day, money dictates
The results.
the result.
All right.
All right, let's just look at one other thing. You've talked about cross carpeting and, of course, no defections. One thing that Nigerians believe is disturbing or is hindering accountability and transparency of leaders is immunity. How can this be scrapped? Apart from, of course, it will translate to amendment of the constitution. But can the political parties themselves champion the call for the total scrapping of immunity for uh, those who enjoy it?
Very difficult. You realize that all these things will be done by the National Assembly. And when you check the composition of the National Assembly, you will see ex-governors and aspiring governors. Some senators still want to be the governor, and some of them are out of there already. So you still want to go to somewhere, and you believe this is the protection I'm going to have when I get to the office. So removing it from the Constitution is like shooting themselves at the leg.
Now, that means that the political parties are not stronger than the politicians and the political parties. Will I be right if I say that? Because the parties cannot rein in their members. Because political parties should be able to dictate to those who are representing not only their constituents but also the party in the National Assembly. Whether you were a former governor, a former rep member, and you are now a senator, how come political parties cannot dictate to their members?
Because these are the people financing the party. These are the people installing the party escorts.
So it still boils down to financing.
All right. Let's see if we can have a few calls in before we take the break for the national news. We have the chairman of the Interparty Advisory Council in Nigeria trying to look for an answer to the question: can Nigeria's political parties save our democracy or save our country from the different problems plaguing us? All right, 08098687344. Reminder: 09091469670.
Right now for the national news at 10. After the national news, we will come back, continue to take your contributions, and of course, our guests will still be here in the studio. Stay with us.
Thank you for still being there. Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM Citizens Forum, Tuesday edition. And we're talking politics and Nigeria survival, and with the question: can the political parties we have in Nigeria, can they salvage the problem? Can they salvage the country? Can they save the country? And with us is the chairman, Inter-Party Advisory Council, collection of all political parties, registered political parties, Chief Adebayo Mosuro. I will return to the call, so he's taking notes of some of that. We'll take a couple of calls and then permit him to respond.
Don't forget you can also reach us via the short code of 32120.
Then we move on. Hello.
There are tweets. Let's quickly do justice to the messages. This one says, yes, if they can do away with self-interest, sentiment, and costly, deadly lies. That's a more fashionable from a lega, talking about whether political parties can save Nigeria. And this other one from Falakemi says, it's high time we began to put our trust in God, The political class has failed. Nigeria has lost confidence in it. Is it insensitivity, looting, impoverishment of the masses, collapsed infrastructure, arrogance, misrule, and failed promises you want to talk about? One day God will lead us out of the wilderness, as he did to the Israelites. All right, that's for Lakiyemi's opinion. All right, let's quickly go to the tweets. Uh, this one says political parties beg at politicians, and money in politics make our leaders greedy. So political parties are not the solution to Nigeria's problem. Delani Roberts says we will spend 250 billion naira on programs in 2018. If we give 50,000 naira to 5 million SMEs, we will take 5 million citizens from poverty list. Or if we give selected MSCs 1 million naira interest-free loans, we will create minimum of 2 million jobs. It's time to stop funding programs in Nigeria and focus on poverty eradication. Delani Roberts went ahead. I can assure you that nothing has changed and nothing might not change in Nigeria because neither the two major political parties in Nigeria today have any verifiable ideology that explains the value system and political leanings. All the political parties we have in Nigeria cannot guarantee a solution to the problems we have in Nigeria. Our political parties have the same ideology, manifestos, and plan to eat from the free buffet available in the Nigerian national cake. Those are tweets from at Dolani Robert. Ismail Oloyede says, by virtue of the 1999 Constitution, we operate as of today. Only political parties can nominate candidates for general elections, and only political parties and the candidates can engage in political campaigns and set up programs of action or manifesto to the electorate. I don't think we have any alternative to the political parties, especially if we want to continue to be a democratic society. It's very sad, but that is the truth. We are condemned to choose between the parties we have. We can only clamor for massive reforms in our political space. Those are opinions from Ismail Oloyede. Agbola Yobami says, is it not possible that political parties rather rake in money for their finances through membership registration fees and levy than allowing money bags hijack the parties? Okay, um, that's Agola Yobami. Yemi Da Vinci, the present political parties cannot rescue us, neither will the present political structure. The same actors created the alarming situation where out of school Nigerian kids is more than the population of most countries in the world. The truth is that only ideological politics, not necessarily the socialist and capitalist binary, but fresh and updated, well thought of system will save Nigeria from itself. In my opinion, the only political party that can save us will be one which adopts an homegrown variation of welfarism as it takes into cognizance our social-cultural history. However, how do we come up with such inside fair cues? That's Yemi Da Vinci. All right, let's have the reaction, Chief Musu.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like what people have been saying that political parties cannot lead us out of these issues. Well, I think if they cannot do it, there is no point being there in the first instance. We can do it, but there is a way. It has to do with people themselves. The determination of the people to make the changes. Somebody, we have a political party, for instance, in government, and they believe, okay, this is our own idea of governance. If people have a contrary opinion, one, the first thing is to educate ourselves. Is what they are doing really right for us? Is this is this is this our agreement in the first instance before voting you into power? But when you look at party manifestos and electioneering campaign programs, most people do not analyze. They just follow the bandwagon. They follow uh, the name of the political party. They believe once People believe, okay, this political party is now our political party in this side, in this area right now. So everybody, no matter who they present, we just have to vote. And that's why we continue to have this problem. A situation whereby, take for instance Ogun State, the governor is carrying out his own program as agreed with the people of Ogun State, as far as I'm concerned. While he was coming, he said the number one thing was urban renewal. Urban renewal to somebody living in a village, when he's campaigning and he's telling you urban renewal and you're a farmer, a local farmer who doesn't have uh, drinkable water, you will have asked, sir, this is not an urban area, this is a rural area. What can you do for us? This shouldn't be your priority. Consider me. Then let him realize that, okay, by the time you just suppose the population of these people, the people in the rural area, and their importance to the economy and development of the state, then you will be able to set in your priority. But what do we have? Who is educating the electorate? And don't let us forget the issue of poverty. So coming back to the parties, political parties changing the rule of the game, what we need to do first is to start. That's why you have a lot of them. The government has done a favor by allowing INEC to register a lot of political parties. So if you believe these people are not doing it right, why can't you start educating people? Unfortunately, we have NGOs in this country, and some other organizations who believe that you can only enlighten people when it's some few months to the election. But what are they doing right now? How many programs are you saying? Take for instance in IPAC, that's why we decided that, okay, our voters education should start early. We want to start doing voters education, encourage people to go out to do the CVR, the registration, voters registration, the continuous voters registration going on. Work hand in hand with INEC to see where the lapses are and to correct them. Rather than running around looking for necessary money and all these things, we want to do that in order to improve the political situation of the country. So after doing these programs, then we will monitor. We will take it to every nook and crannies of this thing, so that people will know that it is not January. Election doesn't start, or preparation for election shouldn't start from January 2019. It should be something we should start now. So first, the electorate themselves, the people, the masses, should educate people, encourage them. If you think, okay, there are bigger parties, they are blocking you there, start from the scratch, as if you are building a new, you are constructing a new building. Start from the foundation, put everything together, invite people of like minds. After which you can now talk about it's going to be a gradual thing. It's not something you can just hijack. You can't just hijack from them, because these people we are complaining about, they control the economy. They have the financial muscle. And one way or the other, they still control how we live in this country as of today. So the people should just come out. Start from, you see, a lot of Nigerians, we are just a lot of analysts on the streets. See them at the newspaper stand. You listen to people, they read newspapers every day. But they still believe they don't have this capacity to talk. They believe their discussion should just end and that's newspaper stand.
They should not be part of the process.
They should have been part of the process.
Okay, so, now this takes me to this question I want to ask you. Nigerians in 2015 decided to change the party in power. We have PDP ruled for 16 years. So they said, okay, this new party, APC, that is promising a whole lot, should be given a chance. And that happened in 2015. Did you see Nigerians voting for another new party in quotes in 2019 or beyond, changing the political climate in Nigeria? Would that translate to improved living conditions for the people?
Well, as I've always said, I've said earlier that it is the people, it is the electorate, it is the masses that can determine. That's why I'm saying It is not only the political parties are just a kind of platform for anybody who believes he can do it or he or she can do it to come on board, because as of now we don't have the independent candidacy of it and for easier coordination of the politics. But the truth is, for us to change from PDP to APC 2015, it shows that the people really has the power to change things. You can imagine we changed a serving president who has all the power, who has INEC in his office, under his control and other security agencies. So not people still have the belief that we don't have a voice, but we do. It's just that we need to enlighten our people. Back to the question of if people will come out to change and whatsoever in 2019, well, it's left to the people. As a politician, for instance, my party is not APC, I'm from Independent Democrats, so I would prefer, because we have our own ideology, I would prefer that kind of change. I prefer to have a candidate who can carry out all these changes we are looking at. That's why we are starting from the grassroots. Don't be surprised, there are some parties you won't know what they are doing right now, because the problem we have in this country has always been our this short-term planning. The situation whereby it is when we want to do something, some few weeks, some few months, that you start saying that no. Our own program has always been, okay, start from the scratch. We are here already. Educate people, encourage people, then grow to that level. So that it won't be like, okay, it's a new party, okay, we are just saying no. No, people will have known what we stand for long before you see us.
All right, let's quickly take this comment posted on our Facebook page by Adewale. I don't believe it's political parties that should be saddled with the task of saving Nigeria. Rather, I believe it's the task of Nigerians to save the country. When I say Nigerians, I'm talking about the masses. So let's forget about God federalism. We should propel people who have distinguished themselves in service to our various communities to leadership positions. Then, I believe we need a third force apart from the PDP and APC. We need a major political party that understands and is really concerned about the sufferings of the average Nigerian. Do you agree with that, in short?
Yeah.
You do. All right, let's go to some of the tweets once again. This one from Yemi Da Vinci. Uh, okay, hold on a second. Says, in my opinion, the only political party that can save us will be one which adopts. Okay, I think that I read that earlier. Those who say independent candidacy is not feasible in Nigeria are guilty of being focused only in governorship and presidency. Independent candidacy will work for legislative and local government posts. At the very least, it is an open secret that an Ogun commissioner would have been a rep if independent candidacy was in place, rather than the ineffective rep we wanted to vote out who is still there. Thus, political parties are the center of mediocrity. The weakest part of our democracy seems to be party and election financing, as this is the point where moneyed mediocres gang up to foist a terrible choice for Nigerians during elections between devil and the DBC. Alright, those are tweets from Yemi Phillips Da Vinci. Akide Ebenezer tweeted this: political parties can solve Nigeria's problems only if we have sincere people at the party level. Also, what we need in Nigeria is a restructuring of the mind. Alright, those are the tweets we have now. We have some short messages trickling in. This one says, sir, do you believe that APC in Ogun State have ESCO or leader in the state? Shola is the one asking that question. This issue of immunity have been the bane or source of bad governance in this nation. The way out is one. Let people gather up and collectively too, with all sincere human rights activists at all houses of assembly and national assembly to ask for immunity clause removal. Two, if truly there's deep desire to serve is inside anyone, such an individual should surrender himself accountability regularly and set aside immunity so enjoyed. 3. Politicians should see it as a sin to enjoy immunity because it allows them to be so carried away from offering truth. 4. Immunity clause allow for looting the treasury. So to save this country, we must remove immunity clause. That's Kaudi Undumide. Dele, okay, Muiwa. Political parties and politicians cannot help this country. Restructuring will be better. I can't laugh this morning when I heard from your news that Ogun can no longer pay WAEC and NECO fees after the promise at the stadium in Abeokuta. Politicians are the same. Iranians are running their leaders and country now. Political parties have failed in their campaign promises. May God help us in Nigeria. Individual candidature will be advantageous to the political cabals we have in this country. The two leading parties were people of same mindset uh, to the general populace. Honorable Mancots from Fulab and in Abeokuta sent in that. Want to quickly react before we take any more calls?
Yes, somebody asked if I believe APC has an ESCO in Ogun State. Well, I'm not a member of APC, but I'm aware as the chairman of IPAC that APC is being represented in IPAC, so I know they have a chairman.
Okay. All right, let's
So
take.
we go back to the telephones.
Wrap it up with this Twitter messages. Political parties can solve Nigeria's problem only if we have sincere people at the party level. Oh, okay. I think we took that one earlier. Akinde Ebenezer. Boyek says, as long as we still allow politicians to cross carpets as they like, our political parties will not be strong enough to solve our problems. Uh, Ismail Oloyede says, let's join parties depending on our political ideologies, if at all we the people ourselves understand what ideology means. Anyway, for the purpose of education, the APC is more to the left, that is a progressive party, while the PDP is more to the right, that is a conservative party. Boyex once again says politicians who cross carpets always lack substance and they have nothing to offer. Such individuals should be denied opportunities to serve because they are only interested in personal gains. All right, the shortcut messages caps it off for us this morning. Without being pessimistic, expecting anything fantastic from the present crop of politicians and political parties is like asking the camel to pass through the eyes of the needle. Chiefly because the politicians are part of the Nigerian society where we celebrate and dwell in immorality, injustice, and all sorts of vices. Until we'll have a societal re-engineering and be godly, fair, and love one another, we are just scratching the surface of our problems. Dr. Chris Omotosho sent in that. Without ideology, organizational skills, and discipline, parties are ineffective while members will be defiant, often detrimentally. Most essentially is the People's Constitution being clamored, which should compass whatever variant system from zero party to independent candidacy, etc. This is a universal imperative to save Nigeria. Cosmos from People's Center. Most over to you.
All right, let me just respond to some of the tweets and the calls. Somebody said cross carpeting shouldn't be allowed. I believe it's everybody's right to freedom. So anybody who feels he wants to reassociate himself with some new set of people is free to do so. But if you have the mandate of the people through a platform they believe in, and that platform is still in the heart of the people, if you decide to cross carpet at the expense of your people to another platform, I think the people still have a choice under the constitution. They have a choice of recalling, or they have a choice of waiting till the next time they will come back again.
Drop you.
Yeah. Then the issue of during our lower era whereby you have intellect, we still have intellect, but let's be realistic. The population and the values in the society now and then, there's a big difference, a great one. Those days, you are talking about a situation whereby you cannot just make money, even if you make it through some other means, and even within your family, you will be rejected. But now, nobody wants to know where a 16-year-old or 22-year-old guy makes so much money and doesn't have a single job. He will still be celebrated by his parents, talk less of the family, not to talk of the family really. So, we are talking about moral values. decadence of the moral value in the society, we allow that. And the level of poverty, people will still go to where they compete. Yes, the issue of we have so many political parties affecting the finances of INEC. No, INEC, as far as I'm concerned, or to the best of my knowledge, is not financing any political party, and that's what makes it look a little bit cumbersome. Whereby, when INEC was still financing, we don't have this much, but now INEC is not financing, and we have so much. That means some things are going on underground. What do I mean by that? People, the political awareness of people is now expanding, whereby you now feel, okay, if we have a smaller political party, so if, like in some other advanced countries, you have young political parties, they have a youth group. You have in the US, you have some young Democrats, just whatsoever. So here, we just have to build. If our bigger political parties are not offering that, people can just go into the smaller ones. And
Yeah, now, Mr.
then
Mosuro,
the issue, sorry, let me just react to this last one.
quickly,
The
because
issue of IPAC.
Mm.
Mr. Bolo Dele, what he said was
some people are going around saying
then their IPAC or
the parting
whatsoever.
of IPAC.
As far as I'm concerned, they are not in existence. So they are just distractors, and we don't want to be distracted.
Let me pick my last question from this. In a couple of weeks, it is expected that the political arena in Ogun State will become very busy and active. People have predicted what they called third force, and there will be movement. Which of these smaller parties are likely to benefit, and which of those big parties are likely to lose form or shape?
Well, I don't know, because those people saying that, I don't agree with that opinion. That if there is going to be movement, I believe it's going to be based on ideology and the kind
There
of,
will be more. You said that there's no ideology, so
yeah.
you're
So
not
let's see.
expecting ideology.
Let's wait till that time. Let's see the kind of people moving.
You
And
don't
see,
want to make any promise.
yes.
That's it.
So let's see the kind of people moving and see where they are moving to. Then we can be able to talk.
All right, because of our time, we can go any further this morning, but we appreciate you. Thank you so much, also, for honoring our invitation and doing justice to the topic. We also appreciate all those who called, those who sat quietly and patiently listening to every bit of what we have to say and brought forward this morning. We appreciate you. Those who sent messages, those who tweeted, and those who posted comments on our Facebook page. Join us again tomorrow for another fresh and, of course, exciting Daybreak Show. We start as early as 7 a.m. and all the way to 11 a.m. I am Toby Joseph, telling you to have a wonderful day.
Yes, tomorrow expected to be a fresh one. Salaries, deductions, wages, and issues in Kogi State. Government says is not owing anybody. Workers are saying the last payment was August. Here in Ogun State, say government says we pay 13 months. Workers said no, we did not see any 13 months. They are owing us what they call LB, leave bonus, deductions. Cooperatives will be looking at the salaries and wages as we begin the journey into 2018. Dele Ayodo is my name. God bless you all. God bless Nigeria, and God bless Rock City.